What is going on, boxing fans? Your man Roberto Flack is here, doing some live shit, doing some live videos, man. Real quick, man. I got some time, real quick to speak on this. Vasily Lomachenko, man. He's coming off this win against Miguel Marriaga a couple weeks ago, and look, I think naturally everybody in the boxing world is waiting for him to fight. Let me say this. There's several people that I think people want Vasily Lomachenko to get in the ring with. But we were given some options that on one end, or I should say on both ends, make sense. But out of the two options, I think it's pretty clear which one most boxing fans want to see Lomachenko in with. And those two fighters are Orlando Salido, the guy who gave Lomachenko his first L in his second fight of his career, and obviously Guillermo Rigondeaux. Naturally, Rigondeaux is the guy, and I think this even goes towards the Mexican fan base, who would probably rock with Salido again. But even some of the Mexican fan base that I've spoken with, you know, some of my peeps in LA, and a lot of them don't care to see the Salido fight if they're given the option of Rigondeaux instead. So Rigondeaux should be the fight, man. And here's my thing. I think there's a difference between what we want and what we're probably gonna get, man. And look, I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible, because with this whole ESPN Top Rank venture, we kind of have to give it some time to flourish, just like how we did with the PBC, because I was somebody that was a little skeptical, or pretty skeptical, about how the PBC was going to run their thing, you know, and it took a little bit for them to put on, like, quality fights on a consistent basis, but 2017, I think, has been PBC's year, man, as far as when you collectively look at the string of fights their brand has put together, you know? So, as it relates to now this move with Top Rank and ESPN, we had Pacquiao and the Jeff Horn fight, who a lot of us were like, why the hell, who the hell's gonna watch that? Well, 4 million people said otherwise. And, the shots of truth and facts. I agree, man. 2017 has been a really good year, man, for the PBC, and I think for Top Rank and ESPN, what we got to remember with this whole deal, is that unlike the initial run of the PBC, where Al Heyman was fronting money, ESPN is covering all this. And this is why the deal was rather interesting when the news broke, because, you know, ESPN, look, man, let's keep it a buck, man. ESPN has the budget that HBO apparently doesn't anymore. And, you know, ESPN has been on record in the last couple of months since this deal struck, that they want to be big players in boxing, man. And when you look at the networks that are surrounding, or at least that are within the bubble of boxing, man, ESPN is still the flagship network for sports, whether people agree with it or not. We all have tablets and phones and things as such, as far as like how we find out about sports, but, you know, the regular average person still watches SportsCenter and still watches ESPN on a daily basis. So I think going in, that was their mentality. But ESPN, man, I think for them, they have to kind of be somewhat of what HBO was, in a way where they want to put on quality fights, man. I mean, we can't have Lomachenko in there with, you know, a top 10 guy at this point. You know, we need to see quality. And Lomachenko's at a point now, man, where I think he's proven that he's obviously an elite fighter. He just needs to get in there with other elite competition. And if you were to give me Rigondeaux and Salido as it relates to elite competition, Rigondeaux is going to be the guy that I pick. and again, people are going to say, oh, he's coming up 2 weight classes and things as such. But look, man, I can't remember the last time we saw two guys that skilled fight each other let alone both guys are regarded as two of the greatest amateurs that ever lived. And I don't remember the last time we had a fight of that caliber in the pro ranks. Because if and when both of these guys get in the ring, man, I mean, there's going to be tons of skill in that ring, man. And for the average viewer and somebody who's looking for knockouts, man, this fight might not appeal to them, you know. But for the hardcore fan and, you know, the lovers of the sweet science, and even for people who like brawls or things as such, man, like, I honestly think, man, this is going to be a more entertaining fight if it does happen than maybe what most people would think, man. But it won't be a war. The Salido fight might be a little different. The Rigondeaux fight, man, two chess masters going at it, man. And I think we need to see that. We need to see that. And I think for Lomachenko, for him to kind of propel himself and put that, I don't want to say a burden, but, you know, people are calling for him to fight Rigondeaux, you know. I think that would get that hump off his back. And I even made the argument that even if he, let's say, he fights Rigondeaux and never fights Salido afterwards, like, would anybody really give him a problem for him not avenging the loss after beating somebody who is regarded top 5 pound for pound? You know what I mean? Like, there's you know, there's trades in life, you know, and I think that would be a scenario where you beat Rigondeaux, man, like, just go to 135 at that point if Burchell's not going to fight you or what have you. I think Salido at that point would be kind of like a step down, to be honest with you. Would I be mad if they made it after the Rigondeaux fight? Not really, but I honestly think beating Rigondeaux and then going to fight Salido would be like a step back, in my opinion at least. But December 9th on ESPN, the one thing we do know is we're going to get one of these two. It's going to be either Orlando Salido or Guillermo Rigondeaux. Mr. Optimistic as I'm known to be, I want to hope that they're going to get this Rigondeaux fight situated. And I think from the general public, that's the call. Would I be shocked if they made the Salido fight? Absolutely not, because they got a storyline to build from it. This is the guy that gave Lomachenko his first loss. He's trying to avenge the loss, this, that, and the third. It's already written. So we'll find out pretty soon, man. I mean, it's still August. You know, obviously we got the elephant in the room next month, and then obviously the mammoth next month, Canelo Triple G. So we still got some time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we'll hear something probably in the next like month or so, as far as like what deal has been struck, and hopefully we get that Rigondeaux fight, man. So that's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna bounce out of here, but before I do, follow us at Guard Your Grill Boxing. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/GYGBoxing, as well as on Twitter at GYGBoxing. And that's pretty much it, man. Follow us, soundcloud.com/GYGB, all shows every week. And we'll be back soon, man. Later.